All right, I've got to be self-indulgent here, and I've got to kind of uh, not not take the high road again and name names and give you the tea, which I know people like. I know drama is fun for people, but it's not something I normally really like to do. Um, but I've just gotta say something about this. I know I recorded a video about Matt Forney. I called him Matt Parrott several times because I simultaneously knew Matt Forney and Matt Parrott, and one time I think we even interviewed the two of them together. Um, so so I'm gonna make sure to call him by his actual last name, Matt Forney. Matt Forney is uh, I mean, an interesting character. I'll say that for him. He is somebody who, uh, a few years ago, came to my aid and came to the aid of a lot of fellow authors who were, outside of the mainstream and would couldn't possibly get published anywhere because we don't we don't promote the shit that the mainstream publishers promote these days. We're not shit libs, we're not woke. We get called racist, sexist, whatever, and don't care. And I'm definitely one of those people. And a few years ago, Matt Forney started a publishing house called Terror House Press, and he republished a bunch of the books that I had that Greg Johnson had dropped from his imprint. Um, Again, I got caught in the crossfire there for something really ridiculous and stupid. Um, and it in a snit of womanly rage um, and malice, Greg Johnson ceased to publish me or took my books off of his imprint. But uh, Matt Forney then came along and picked them up and published them again, and they got a new cover and uh, you know um, by the talented Matt Lawrence, the talented illustrator Matt Lawrence, and so he republished several of my fiction books that had been dropped by Countercurrents, and I actually published a couple of other new things that I wrote also as well. So I really have him to thank for that period of time when he was good to me and to others. Um, and I remember the perhaps the high point of all of this was back in the fall of 2022 when an event was scheduled in Bushwick, Brooklyn, New York, of all places. Um, an event was scheduled for Terror House authors to come and read from their work, and I was invited, and I went, and it was a great opportunity. Um, and Matt was talking about how, yeah, next year we're going to be expanding. We're going to be doing other events. We're going to do a show down in Guadalajara, Mexico. We're going to maybe come back to New York again. And it sounded like the future was looking bright. It sounded like Terror House had a bright history, in that Matt Forney, if I called him Parrot, I apologize. That Forney, I'll just say Forney. I'll stick with his last name. That Forney would stay behind it all, but At some point in the early 20s, after 2022, starting in 2023 and into 2024, 2025, Forney just went I don't know how to say it. He just disappeared. I don't know what happened to him. I really don't know. He became a derelict of his duties. He was living down in Mexico, um, which, I mean, I don't know. You can come to whatever conclusions about that you want. You know, Mexico's kind of a shady place in a lot of ways, and why was he living in Mexico instead of in the United States? I don't know. But anyway, he just became completely derelict of his duties. And I understand, if I would have understood if Forney had said something like, uh, well, I've realized I can't handle the business of Terror House anymore, so I'm going to hand it over to so and so, and he'll take care of it, or something like that, something that was responsible. If he didn't want the responsibility of running this publishing company, which I'm sure is not an easy thing to do, then he could have offloaded it to someone else, worked something out, and then gone his own way, and that would have been fine. I want to make it clear, I'm not saying Matt Forney was obligated to be the Terror House publisher forever and ever, even though early on he was talking like this was his dream. He was living his dream. He had always wanted to do this. He had always wanted to take books that were not that were never going to be picked up, in the mainstream, or even in the mostly ultra woke alternative press. But his dream was to help publish such works, and bring them to an audience. And when I was in Bushwick, I was amazed at how many people were coming out. Young people. I don't mean young like teenage or necessarily, but people in their 20s, people in their early 30s. It seemed like a vibrant scene. I was wondering, where are these people? Like, Forney has the pull. He has the ability to find all these people in New York, in the New York area alone, who are interested in dissident fiction literature, and bring them all here to this gathering, and have them hear these authors read from their works, including myself. And I was like, how does he do it? How does he have that kind of pull? And then he disappears off the map, and Terror House just goes to ruin, and it's very disappointing that it happened. But I was content to keep mum about it. I wasn't gonna badmouth him, because in the early years he had done good things for me, and so I was going to take the high road. But as I say in a prior video, Forney suddenly turns up recently, on Twitter/X, promoting the Iran war. Every post is promoting the Iran war, promoting what I would call the neocons, the interventionists in the Trump administration. And it's like, dude, you were gone. You were nowhere to be found. And now you're suddenly extremely conspicuous here, and reciting this party line that was not your party. This is not where you stood, a few years ago. This was not where you stood in the era of when you were writing for Return of Kings. It's not where you stood, to my knowledge, when you were the editor-in-chief of Terror House. And now you're suddenly this pro-Iran war, pro-Israel lobby, Trump cheerleader, um, insulting anybody who's against the Iran war, calling them, all kinds of names, and again, how does this guy do it? Like, he fails upwards. There are some people who just have the ability to fail upwards because he's obviously got juice. He's obviously got connections. How did he make these connections? How does, again, I don't want to repeat myself, but in a prior video, I talked about how, I was amazed to see that one of the things that he wrote, one of his tweets, Elon Musk responded to. Elon fucking Musk responded to Forney. I mean, if Elon Musk is behind Forney's endeavors, that sure would have come in handy back in the days when Terror House was going. I think we could have gotten a little bit more promotion if Elon was behind us then. But I don't know. Like he disappears off the map. He's hurt. Everyone's pissed at him because he's not returning any emails. He's not paying authors their proceeds. And eventually somebody has to file suit to get something done. He's just non-responsive to anything, to anybody, to what anybody is saying. I don't know what the hell happened to him, and I'm not here to. The point of this video isn't to try to assess what happened to him or what took place or what. I mean, any number of scenarios, come to mind, but I'm not going to entertain them here. And now he's got this new. Now he just announced he's a part of an integral part of. He says he's not in charge of it, but he's obviously an integral part of this new venue. And I'll provide the link to the X. I'll link to where he says this on X, where he's soliciting authors for this new journal that's going to be this new, quote, America First journal. America First in a pro Greater Israel, pro American military industrial complex, pro neocon kind of way, that the sort of zigzag that the Trump administration has unfortunately taken in its foreign policy. He's right there with them, and he's now spearheading this new thing. And I wrote to him and said, Matt, this is what you deserted Terror House Press for? This is why you left us all in the dust? This is why you atrociously mismanaged Terror House Press? To just kiss up to power, to kiss the ring. It's all very disappointing, and I sound angry. I guess I am a little angry, but I'm more just. I I know it always sounds disingenuous when someone says, "I'm not really angry. I'm just disappointed." But really, I am more disappointed than anything else, and frustrated, because I mean, just for fuck's sake, being left in the dust again. First having Greg Johnson, cattily, bitchily, homosexually, say, well, I don't want to publish you anymore. And just maliciously remove me from his from his page, which he has every right to do, but I have every right to have an opinion about it too. To be picked up by Forney, and then to have Forney flake on me, and others, plenty of others. I'm quite sure I'm speaking for plenty of others here, and if anyone else is watching this, if there are any fellow Terror House authors who are watching this and who want to add their 2 cents, go ahead. I would welcome your input. And now Terror House is gone, and there's somebody else, Arbogast, who's trying to piece it back together, but it's an uphill battle, and Forney's moved on to promoting Greater Israel. It just sucks, and how does he do this? Again, I'm a little mad. I'm a little disappointed. I'm also just mystified and bewildered. Like, what is it about people like Forney who can just fuck up miserably, royally fuck up, and still have juice and still have power and still have influence, to the point where Elon fucking Musk is one of your readers and responds to your tweets. Am I jealous of that? Okay, yeah, I'm a little jealous of that. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be jealous if if I knew things were on the up and up, and if Matt had a history of success and of treating people well. But that's not what's happened. He's been a miserable failure, and now he's back in a position where he's, if not in charge, then an integral part of this new. I don't know if it's going to be a news journal or what it is. Again, I'll link to it. How do people like that fail upwards? How is he in a higher, more exalted position today after fucking up everything and disappointing everybody, and handling himself abominably? How is he in a position now where he's in the good graces of, powerful people with nefarious agendas? How has that happened? That's it. I'm done. Rant over. Thanks for watching.